Hello, hello. I think we are live. Yes, I see people typing. Perfect. So welcome everybody to today's workshop. Today we're going to be doing a Build a VR escape room workshop. So we're going to jump into that in just a minute. Hello, hello. Hi to everybody on the side there. Yes, the chat is open, so please feel free to go ahead and participate. I'm actually going to go through a few things here before we get going with the actual workshop today. First thing I wanted to note is that our team did email out a copy of the project files for today's workshop. So for anybody who is looking to participate and kind of follow along, maybe take this time now to go check your email, locate that information with the files, and then you can open it and participate with the workshop here. Something else I should check, I probably should have done this first, but everybody can hear me okay, everybody can see me okay. Always good to do a quick sound and video check when we get things going. Perfect. Yeah, you can see me. Hi, Scott. Hello, everyone. Nihal, Michael, David. I can see everybody over there. Perfect. So on the side, obviously, you can see the chat log. We also have a polls area and we have a questions area. The chat and the questions are basically open for everybody to participate throughout the entire presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to enter them there. We will do our best, like some of our team will be working on the back end to field and answer questions as we go through the presentation. However, we may leave some to the very end so that we can go through a little bit more of a formal Q&A, especially if the questions could be beneficial for several people to see, and it would be a good idea for us to kind of go through it as a group as opposed to one-on-one. But feel free to use that. And then the polls tab, I will release a couple polls as we get closer to the finish of the presentation. Once I bring Nikisa on and she runs through and then I hop back in for the final information share, I will activate the polls at that time so people can kind of connect and provide some feedback then. So I think that's it for most of the housekeeping. I always like to ask too, where's everybody located? Where's everyone joining us from today? I myself, I'm located in Calgary, Alberta. That's also where our company is founded. California, Dallas, Vegas, Orlando, SoCal. Wow, awesome. Ohio. Wow, tons of people here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much again, everybody. The last thing I do want to say is when I share my screen, for some reason, my laptop has a vendetta against me. Every time I share my presentation screen, it boots me out of the entire presentation. So if it does that, I will be back, I promise, in just a minute. If that does happen, Nikisa will pop in quickly and cover my butt for me, but otherwise I'll be right back. But we're going to cross our fingers here as I hit the share screen and hope that that is not the case. So bear with me. If I had a drum roll sound effect, I would do it right now. Okay. There we go. I don't think it booted me. I think we're okay here. So everyone, I'm assuming, can see the screen. I can hear the little chat logs going. I can't actually see it while I'm doing this, but that's good. So perfect. So I'm going to jump into maybe a little bit of a self-introduction to start. So you can see here, my name is Tyler Trapp. I'm an enrollment advisor at CircuitStream. I've been was working in hospitality for 10 plus years before this in the tourism industry. And I shifted over into tech and into education. I'm also a little bit of an artist. I mean, it's self-taught. I'm certainly not professionally trained, but I've been drawing and painting my whole life. And then more recently, I kind of shifted into digital art. So I've been playing with Procreate on my iPad and kind of getting into that side of things, which is a lot of fun. Nikisa is our instructor. She's been with us for quite a while. She is going to be doing the formal part of the presentation today, going through the specific details. She has a mixed background, combining, arts and engineering. It gives her a really unique approach for XR development. She's done projects. She's developed and designed projects for HoloLens, for Oculus, for Valve, for Magic Leap. So she's got a pretty impressive resume. She will be up here in just a minute. For today's agenda, the introduction, which we're in right now, should last about 10 to 15 minutes. We will then go into the technical session with Nikisa, and then we will go into a bit of wrap up and resources. That's when I'll pop back in. It says 10 minutes, it probably won't even be that long. And the whole point there is just to provide resources for anybody who is looking for information on the courses, the workshops, or just us in general. And then once we complete that, of course, we'll go into a little bit of the Q&A that I mentioned before. So let's just dive right into this intro part here without further ado. So who are CircuitStream? We were founded, we're an educational company. We were founded back in 2015. Our founders just noticed a huge gap in personalized training and education in the XR industry. For anybody who's brand new, XR would just be a fancy umbrella term, basically for augmented and virtual reality. To date, we've supported and taught over 40,000 individual learners in XR and in Unity. These learners have taken part in various workshops and courses over the years. And obviously, this is a huge milestone for us at CircuitStream that we're really, really proud of. So speaking of us at CircuitStream, you can meet a bit of our team here. I'm going to share a little bit more of the enrollment team later at the end of the workshop here, but you can see by the map here, our headquarters is located in Calgary, Alberta, but you can also see that we have people located all around the world. The benefit there is obviously we're going to have people from all different backgrounds bringing different sorts of approaches to the education into AR and VR. So let's go through here. Certification. Something really important to note is that we are a certified training partner with Unity. So training partners with Unity are only approved based on their expertise, on their focus, their quality of education, and their commitment to basically providing the highest level of training available. Of course, we are meeting all of those standards because we are a certified training partner with Unity. So it's just a little bit of an explanation to explain what that means. We are also partnered with universities. We are growing this portfolio quite extensively. You can see obviously on the screen right now that we have a few listed here. This is going to grow. We are in discussions with even more schools. The more that this is expanding into industry, obviously there's just more of a need in regular education streams through universities, colleges for this to be taught and offered. So that's why we are partnering with universities here. So CircuitStream, above all else, is an educational company. You can see here that we've had the pleasure of working with some of the world's largest and most exciting companies as well. Given how quickly AR and VR is accelerating at the moment, the biggest companies and industries are definitely taking notice, and they are innovating with this company. We could probably have a few more pages of logos here as well, but this is just a quick snapshot of some of the big companies that we are working with. So what is Unity? So if you've seen this this interface on the screen right now, you're probably familiar with Unity. And if you've seen this muffin clicker game that we have on the screen, you've probably taken our 4-week C# scripting course. But if you are brand new, Unity is basically, it's a free 3D development engine for building games, simulations, and experiences. And in our opinion, and based on a lot of feedback in the industry, it would be the easiest way to begin making apps and games and experiences when compared to other similar programs. Unity is used to create over 60% of the world's AR and VR content at the moment. And then in terms of a global impact, there are about 3 billion downloads, of Unity monthly. And then the software itself is pretty much borderless. It's in use right now in over 190 countries globally. So, and then what do we teach basically at CircuitStream? Like anything else, how does this kind of start? It would start with an idea. So, any application that you're looking to create, you'd have the idea. From there, you would build the assets and bring them into Unity to create immersive interactions. This would be done using scripting and C# programming language. Once you're happy with the build that you've created, you would just need to leverage a software development kit to ensure that your target device is compatible with your build. Then once you've done that, you can render it, publish it, and there you have it. You've developed an app from the idea to the actual execution where you can export it into the device that you're looking for there. And then in terms of our overall academic offerings, we have a pretty extensive portfolio that would offer, 10-week courses. We've got the 6-month bootcamp. We have private one-on-one sessions. We have self-paced courses, quite a few options. This screen here is just going to show you kind of our main 3 courses. We've got the 10-week XR development with Unity course. We've also got the 10-week interaction design and prototyping course. And then we have our newer 6-month Unity developer bootcamp. The 2 on the left would be considered beginner-friendly courses, whereas the bootcamp is still somewhat beginner-friendly in a sense, but you do have to have a bit of experience. We would classify that one as intermediate. The experience required for that would be mostly Unity experience. And then in terms of our university partners here, I just wanted to kind of clarify some of the start dates that we have coming up. So for UBC, the next course start date would be March 8th, as well as for University of Toronto. For San Diego, it is May 17th. And then also University of California, Riverside would also be May 17th. And then I'm just going to go quickly through what everyone's going to learn here today. So today, the workshop is focused on how Unity is used to build virtual reality games and applications, how to set up a project in Unity, how to use 3D objects and script basic interactions in Unity, and how to set up VR controllers and use VR input in Unity. So without further ado here, as I have whipped through all that information here for us, I'm going to officially stop sharing the screen here and hope that I am not booted out. There we go. Perfect. And I can invite Nikisa up on the stage, and I'll let her actually take over for the formal part of the presentation here. So Nikisa, if you are still hanging out. There.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we'll be building this thing from scratchy scratch. So let's go over some of the basic stuff. Let's dive right into it. Now, I know I'm famous for all the puns, but I say all of these dad jokes without having any kids. So I guess that makes me a faux pas. It's great. It's great. So I will show you the assets that we will be using today. They are all going to be free on the asset store, Unity asset store. So let me share my screen. Can everyone see this? There we go. There we go. All right, let's go to the Unity asset store. There we go. Unity asset store. And let's take a look here. And so what we will be doing, the assets that we need is, and we're going to use an apartment room. So we're going to search for apartment, and we are going to check for free assets because everybody likes free stuff. And this is the apartment kit that we will be using. Apartment kit from Brick Project Studio. We need this one, and then we will also, to make things real pretty, maybe we'll have a skybox. Maybe we will have a nice little skybox. Let's search for skybox. So when we will be in Unity, you can use any one of these. Maybe not this one because this has 220. That's a bit overkill. Let's take a look at some free assets. And we could just use all sky. You could use this sky. You could use anything like this. Anything we want. So first things first, apartment. Now, when you are using things from the asset store, you will be prompted to create an account and download these things, go through all the motions and that all stuff. And if you don't know what the asset store, it's a place where you can purchase these things called assets. We can range from 3D objects to scripts to entire packages. And all of that stuff. So we need this apartment. Let's click on this apartment. And we can click on download or add to assets. And then just click on that and open Unity. So does that make sense so far? Where do you get Unity? Oh, you just search for Unity download. Unity download. Download Unity. Right there. There you go. Download Unity Hub. That is the first step. Very first step. So since I already have Unity downloaded and installed, this is the Unity Hub. Now this is the old. This is the old Unity Hub. And if you have a newer Unity Hub, one that you're just downloading here, it'll have a black background. So what we will be building today is we will be building a VR escape room where you have to escape the room. Sorry, my internet just keeps cutting in and out. I'm sorry about that. But let's get started. Let's get started. So let's open up the Unity Hub. And yes, Unity is for Mac. So let's continue and let's create a brand new project here. And I'm going to create it in the GitHub repository that you have been supplied. So let's go into new, because this will be a new project. New, clicking on that little drop down menu because I have many different versions of Unity installed. Let's go to 2020.3.26. 2020.3.26. Let's click on that. And this is just going to be like regular 3D template. We're not going to do any fancy shader stuff and universal render pipeline. And so right away, I'm going to rename this to 2022. Is 2022, which is 2022. So 2022, let's do a VR escape room. Now I'm going to select the location, and this location will be in that GitHub repository. CS. There it is. Right there. Nope, that's not it. Where is that it? Nope, it's this one. There it is. And select folder. And so now that we have the template and everything going on there, we are going to click on create and create our either very first Unity project, or well, if you have created Unity projects before, number. So let's click on that lovely button, create. It's just a 3D template, just a 3D template. You can use HRP or URP, but this is where we will begin. Don't worry if this is going a little bit too quick. You will receive a recording after this done. So just sit back, relax, take as much information as you can, and use that. Yes, you can use any editor that you want. I will be using a 2020.2.36. So let's click on that lovely create button. The button. One of my friends was complaining about not having any hobbies. And I was like, well, have you tried blindfolded archery? I mean, you don't know what you're missing. Alrighty. So this is the Unity project. This is the Unity project. And welcome to your new best friend, the Unity editor. So let's just go over the basics of the Unity editor. So we have over to the left-hand side, the hierarchy. The hierarchy is basically a list of all the things of what is in your scene. And your scene is where we do our world building. The scene tab right in here, we can see the sky, we can move around. This is where we'll be building our virtual world, our VR world. So over in the inspector tab, to the right-hand side, this tab will show you all the components that make up something called a game object. A game object is anything in the scene. It's this main camera, it's this directional light, all of these things. So you can see as I click on them, the inspector shows all the components that make up this game object. Does that make sense so far? Nice. So, very important, so muy importante, is the project tab down at the bottom. This project tab is basically the file directory of your project. It has your assets folder, which will be where we download all of our assets and where we'll be doing some scripts. It's a very simple script. Don't freak out. It's all good. I'll walk you through it. Don't be scared. So now what we need to do is we need to get all of the assets. An asset is basically just 3D objects or scripts, scenes, things that comprise your project. Everything that you need. Everything. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the apartment into our project. And then we need to get maybe a skybox if we're feeling lucky. And then what we will be doing next is we'll be using the XR interaction toolkit to get VR all set up and ready for our viewing pleasure. So first things first, no, I said that first. But let's do a Windows right up here and let's go to the package manager. Again, that's window and package manager. Now let's click on that package manager and open up on the other side, but this is it. So your package manager is where you will be installing the assets from the asset store and other packages from Unity itself, all of that stuff. So right now we're looking at the packages in the project. Now we don't want that. We don't really want to look at the things in the project because the apartment isn't in the project yet. So click on packages in project and we're going to look at my assets. So click on my assets right up there. And you'll be greeted with a list of all of your assets in your asset store connected to your account. Now, I have a lot of assets. I have a lot. It's basically where I blow all my money instead of the Steam store. Their summer sale. Who's playing Elden Ring? I want to know. Is anyone playing it? Nice. Nice. Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. Horizon. Oh my goodness. You guys have amazing taste in video games, I have to say. Skyrim's I used to be an adventurer until I took an arrow to knee. Anyways, let's search for the apartment. We're going to search for apart. There it is, apartment kit. This is the asset that we previously saw in the asset store that we added to our account. So let's click on that asset and we are either going to download, if you haven't downloaded it already, and then import. So since I've already downloaded it, I'm just going to click on import and it will import all the things that come with this package. All of the things. And so when we see this Unity package has package manager dependencies, click on install and upgrade. That is important. That is important. And then we'll just wait for it to load. Wait for it to load. Yes, install and upgrade. Install and upgrade. You know, I was reading about the Vikings and they had this like secret system of communication. And I was like, oh my God. And you know what it was called? It was called Norse code. So now that we are looking at this import Unity package page, so we are looking at this Unity import package page, and this is just a list of all the things that are in this package. So we want to make sure everything is checked. You can just click on this all, and you can see all of these things, and we're just going to click on import into our project. It even lists his Instagram there on our website. Nice. Nice. Speaking of Norse code, I'll tell it later when you least expect. So now that this is done, we can see in our assets folder, we have a new folder, Brick Project Studio. We can close this project or close the package manager now. We can close that. And let's take a look at the Brick Project Studio. We have an apartment kit. We can click on that. We have some SE basic assets. We have some prefabs. And look at that. Look at that. Let's take a look at what the scenes it has. Let's look at the scene, and there's the scene 1. So a scene, you can think of it as entering a different environment. We can have multiple scenes at a time, or we can just have one loaded scene for now. We're just going to be working with one loaded scene. This will be the scene 01. I'm going to double click on the scene 01, and in the hierarchy, it will change to list all the game objects that are in my scene. So I'm going to double click. And there we go. There it is. So now we have to learn how to navigate in the scene. So we can use our right mouse click to move around. We can use our middle scroll wheel button to zoom in. Look at that. And then we can use our middle scroll wheel button to zoom out. And all of that lovely stuff. We can click and drag on our middle scroll wheel button to pan on that plane, and then zoom in, and then use our right, and then zoom in, and we have a kitchen, and we have dining room, we have a desk, all of these lovely things. So this escape room is going to be really simple for the time that we have today. We'll be learning about the XR interaction toolkit, setting that up, and then setting up some simple interactions. And once we are done with that, we will design a super simple escape room. What I have in mind is that we have pieces of paper or blocks that have letters scribbled over them, and you have to mash them all together to create a word that tells you where to look. And once you know where to look, you'll find a key to open the door. How's that sound? You don't get to say in it anyways. Just say it sounds great. So let's get started with the XR. Let's get started with the XR interaction toolkit. Now, the XR interaction toolkit is it has packages for tracking your hands. It has packages for simple interactions. It has teleportation. It has locomotion. It has all these things neatly packaged for us, and it's totally ready for us to use. So we don't have to do so much heavy lifting to get VR prototypes off the ground. And it's free. Love me some free stuff. So let's go back into our package manager again. Let's go into Windows, Package Manager, and let's remove this search bar. Now, since the XR Interaction Toolkit isn't in my assets, it is actually in the Unity registry. So we have to switch to see that in the package manager. So right up here, everyone see that packages and my assets right there? Packages, my assets, you see? Do you see? Click on that. Click on that and go to Unity Registry. Once we are in the Unity Registry, we can scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there it is, XR Interaction Toolkit. We want that. We want that lovely goodness. So let's click on the XR Interaction Toolkit and click on Install. You don't have Unity Registry. You should. You click on the Unity or click on where it says Packages, and then in that drop-down menu, you should see Unity Registry. Okay, so when you see this, don't freak out. When you see this, don't freak out. So what this means is that there's two input systems in Unity. One is the old one is the new one. The XR Interaction Toolkit uses the new one. So when you click on yes, it's going to restart the Unity editor and get that all set up for your project. So let's click on yes. We are yes people. And when you see this, it's okay. Just make a backup and go ahead. Yeah, click on that. And this will restart the Unity editor. So it's restarting right now. And then we take a sip of coffee and wait for it to load. And there it is. There is the package. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, let's scroll down to the XR Interaction Toolkit, and we can see that there's a lovely green check mark there. So let's click on the XR Interaction Toolkit, and there's another thing that we need to import. And this step is very important. Very, very important. Click on the samples and the starter assets. The starter asset is what we need to connect all of the inputs from these controllers to your controllers to have them register in the Unity editor and do all the things that they're supposed to do. So let's click on import for the starter assets. So that is clicking on the XR Interaction Toolkit. Under samples, clicking on that little arrow to see under samples, and then the starter assets right there, and click on import. And there we go. Import. So now that that is downloaded, there's another thing that we need to download. Absolutely. In order for us to get the thing on the headset. Now I'm using a tethered headset. I'm using the Oculus Rift S because it has not failed on me. It has been the loyal piece of tech that it has been. So let's click on the XR plugin management. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to increase the font size. Sorry about that. I will increase the font size once we get to the scripting part so everyone can see. It'd be super simple. So let's click on the XR plugin management. This is used to connect to SDKs from Oculus or OpenXR or Windows Mixed Reality, all those things. So let's go on the XR plugin management and click on install. You know, with all the news going on in the world today, especially in Europe, I was reading about the Finnish army, like Finland. And I was like, oh my God, why do they have barcodes on their ships, on their navy? And it's because when they come to port, they can Scandinavian. So we have the XR plugin management installed. No, unfortunately, I do not speak Italian. I speak C#. So the XR plugin management is installed. Okay, that's cool. Let's close this. And let's take a look at what we have in the scene. So we have these two game objects right now, but look to the left. We have an arrow here. We have this little arrow. So this arrow, if you click on that, we can see more game objects. These game objects are children, or would be called children of this structure. So there's an interior. We can click on that. We can see all the things that are in the interior. And then we can click on that and we see more children. And then we see more and more children. And these are all the game objects that make up this scene. So let's click on the base scene, and there is a first-person player that we don't really need. We don't need here. We can just delete this game object from the hierarchy because we don't need that, and delete. There we go. Now what we will be doing is the apartment and sky are from the Unity Asset Store. You can just search for apartment, and it's the apartment kit. Maybe I'll just, you know what? You know what? There you go. So we'll be setting up the XR rig. I'm going to right click in this scene here. Right clicking in this empty space. So I have this lovely menu come up. And then we're going to go to XR and we want to create an XR origin action based. XR origin action based. So click on that. And there it is. There is the XR origin. So when we expand this, we'll see the first child, which is a camera offset. And this camera offset is the head to ground offset from your headset. So we can expand that. And now we see three game objects. We have one for the main camera right there, one for your left hand, and one for your right hand. Main camera, your head, hand. So these hands need to be little grabby things. They need to register actions from the new input system. So I'll show you how to do that. So in the samples and the XR interaction toolkit in 2.0.0, let's expand that and let's go to the starter assets. So in the starter assets, we have default input actions. So these default input actions, when we double click on this, we have actions on the head, left hand, and right hand. So these actions are mapped to keys on our controller. Mapped to the keys on the controller there. So we have a joystick right there, joystick, and we have an A and a B button or an X and a Y button right there. We also have this Oculus button right there, but that's reserved for exiting applications and all that stuff. So that's what the default actions do. They map actions to your controller. And that's an explanation of that. We're not going to be messing with this too much. So let's close this. And on the left hand, we see that we do not have any input action references here. So we're going to have to go in and fill all these things. But since I am a very lazy person, instead of going from plus and then adding binding and all that stuff, I'm a very, very lazy person. So what we can just do is we can just drag this XRI default left controller, drag it over into the inspector, and right there where it says XR controller, we drop it there. And look at that. All of it's mapped for us. Yeah, I'll go over that again. So to create the XR origin, it's right-clicking in the empty space, going to XR, and then going to XR origin. XR origin action-based. And that's how you create the XR origin. So let's do the right-hand mapping of the controllers. Again, we're just going to click on the XRI default right controller, dragging it over top in the right-hand side on the inspector, dropping it on top of the XR controller. Boom. And there we go. There we go. So we can now use VR. But first, let's check if this thing will actually work. Let's go to Edit in Project Settings and the XR plugin management. Now, this is a very important step. You have to initialize an XR on startup, and then you also have to check which SDK you will be using. Right now, I'm going to be using Oculus. So I'm going to check Oculus there. And again, this is in your Edit, Project Settings, and then XR plugin management. Edit, Project Settings, XR plugin management. And there we go. So now that we have Oculus installed, we can now let's close this, hit this lovely play button and hopefully see it in VR. If you're using an HTC Vive, good question, go to Project Settings, and in your XR plugin management, you're going to want Open XR, not Oculus, Open XR. And that is for your HTC Vive settings. So let's close that. So in order for us to see any gameplay that we do, we have to hit this lovely play button right there. So let's hit it. Yeah. And let's see. Hey, nice. There we go. And now we can see it in VR. Nice. So it is working. We got some nice wine bottles there. So we are in VR. We done it. We done it. Now we can get into the gameplay. Now we can get into the gameplay. So I am going to put a sphere. Let's say there's a, so for the Quest 2, you have to use the link cable and you have to go through setting that up. I won't go through that today because that's a little bit more involved and we don't have a whole lot of time. Now this drawer is movable. This drawer right there. So we can move it there, and then we can look inside and see what is in there. And see what's in there. So let's put a key in there. Let's say this key is going to be real simple. Real simple. Let's say the key is just like a sphere. I'm lazy. I'm a programmer, not an artist. Don't get mad at me. Now we're going to put this sphere. This sphere will be like the unlocker sphere that you have to find. So I'm going to right click in here and go to 3D object, and we'll go through a sphere. And the sphere is pretty big, pretty big. Its scale right now is at 1, 1, and 1. So 1 unity unit translates to 1 meter in real life, in IRL. 1 meter, metric. Sorry, Americans. The world is in metric. So let's decrease the scale here. You see these little gizmos. You can click on any of these gizmos and move this thing around. You can also click on E or R to scale it down. So I'm going to click on the middle square here. So clicking there and scaling it down uniformly so it's an appropriate size. Right about there. Yeah, right about there is good. Right about there. So it doesn't really look like a prize now, does it? Let's create a material for this game object. And We'll have it look a little bit more fancy. I'm going to right click in my assets folder and go to create and a material. And this will be our sphere material. On that, let's check emission to emit light. Checking that. Let's go to the HDR. Yeah, let's do it like that. Yeah, right there. And close. So now to apply this material on the game object, I'm going to click and drag. Now, if I'm going too fast, that's okay. You will have the recording button when this is done. You can follow along there and pause, replay, rewind, all those things. But I'm going through this really quickly because, well, we don't have a whole lot of time. And we got to get to the good stuff. We got to get to the juice. So we will be grabbing this and placing it somewhere. In order for us to grab anything using the XR interaction toolkit, we need to add a component right there, add a component, and search for an XR grab interactable. An XR grab interactable must be on an item that you want to grab. So add that. And you notice immediately it adds something called a rigid body. A rigid body is the component that allows this object to feel forces, Newtonian forces, gravity. But before Newton defined gravity, people could fly. Just kidding. Wouldn't that be cool? Now, we want this ball to just be floating there. So let's uncheck gravity and let's actually use kinematic. Use kinematic. So what this does is this game object will no longer be feeling forces, but it can exert forces. And then, you know what, let's close this desk. Close it so that we can hide the thing right in there. Okay, cool. There it is. There she be. All right. So there will be 2 blocks for us to find that we have to hide somewhere around in here. So let's say one will be in the fridge. Yeah, let's do a fridge. And you know what? These 2 blocks will have 2 letters on each of them. Or the oven. All right, let's do the oven. Cool. So let's create some textures for us to put on the cube, the square. So I'm going to do it real quickly. I'm going to open up my paint. Open up my paint right here. And I'm going to just draw. I'm going to draw D, E, D, E. And I'm going to file, save as, D, E. Programmer art is amazing. Okay, so that's my DE. And I'm going to spell SK. SK. File save as SK. And there we go. So we have our textures. It's saved somewhere. And that is okay. So in the assets folder, we need to get those textures into our project. Now, the process to do that is actually super complicated. You can write desk in whatever language that you want. I'm just using English. So to get that DE and SK pictures into our folder. It's super complicated, super complicated, so watch real closely. I'm going to select both of these things and click, drag, drop. And there they are. Super complicated. Now we can minimize that. And now look at this. We have DE, and then we have SK. So let's create the very first cube that we need to find. I'm going to right click in here and go to 3D object and a cube. Now this cube is big. Let's say this is the BE cube. Let's rename it to that. And I'm going to hit R on my keyboard and scale that down just like that. Let's move it around. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we want to get this DE texture onto the cube. What we have to do is we have to create a material and apply it to the cube. So let's create a material. I'm going to right click and create a material. And this will be called DE material. So this material, in order for it to have that texture, DE texture here, it has to be, well, it could be JPEG or PNG, whatever, whichever one. And this texture has to be in the albedo channel. So you see that tiny little square right there? That's where you're going to drag. That's where you're going to drag the texture, the DE texture picture that we imported. So clicking on that DE, drag it over here and drop it there. And there is the preview, DE. So now we have to apply this material to the cube. I'm going to click on the DE material, drag it on top of there. Boom, there it is. And if we get a little bit closer to it, DE, there it is. Ooh, it's so faint. Look at that, DE. DE. So let's put this thing, hit W, let's put it in the oven door. Moving it there. Move it there. Boom. Focus. And there it is. Okay. So we want to be able to pick up this cube, right? So what do we have to do? We have to add a component. Yes, Michael. Grab interactable. Add component. Add the XR grab interactable. Nice. So where should the other cube be? Exactly. Where should the other cube be? One cube is in there. It might melt. In the fridge. Should we put it in the fridge, in the freezer? What are we going to do? We could also, in the freezer, look at these things. Everything here is interactable, right? We could actually just stick it in there. Just stick it in there. The toilet. Where is it? Okay, I think it's in here. I think it's in there. Oh, there it is. Go for the toilet. Okay, let's put it in the toilet. Let's see if we can interact with this thing. Can we flip it up? We can flip it up. You know what? Let's leave it up. Let's leave it up. Because it doesn't look like there's an animation on it. No, there's no animation on it. Leave it up there. So now let's minimize this and let's create another cube. I'm going to duplicate this cube. Control D. Let's rename this to SK cube. SK cube. Let's put this. Oh, where is this? Where is this? There it is. Okay, so the cube, I'm going to move it all the way over there. That looks roughly a closet. Oh, that's not. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. So the cube is in, maybe it should be lower. Okay, there we go. So since this will be the SK cube, we have to create a material for the SK. I'm going to right click in here and go to create a material, and this will be SK. And again, you have to apply that texture in the albedo. Ah, yes, it does have to be. Yes, thank you, David. Thank you, David. Good eye. It has to be kinematic so it doesn't fall. So let's actually do that right now. Let's do this cube. Uncheck gravity is kinematic. Let's do this cube. Uncheck gravity is kinematic. And there we go. So is kinematic means okay, let's back up for a little bit. Let's back up and just review our lessons of Newtonian physics and forces. So each force, remember, each force has an equal and opposite reaction. Each action has an equal and opposite reaction. So my hand is pushing on this table, and the table is feeling the force from my hand, but my hand is also feeling a force that is equal and opposite to my hand. So when something is kinematic, that means it can exert forces without feeling the reaction. That's what that is kinematic means. So this cube will be able to put forces on other things, but it won't be feeling forces like gravity. Exactly, Michael, it won't move. So we have the SK material right there. We're going to add that SK texture in the albedo channel. Click and drag it right there. There it is. So let's drag this on top of, there we go. So there is the SK. SK. Yeah, so if these cubes are using gravity, you will still be able to pick it up because it has the XR grab interactable on it. Kinematic, exactly, Laura. Kinematic will keep it from falling. So we have those cubes set up. Now, what we have to do is we have to do some scripting. A little bit of scripting because this thing, this oven door, has an animation. And this animation, if we take a look at it, has an idle and it has an open animation and a closing animation. So we are going to write a simple script that uses the XR interaction toolkit that will trigger these animations when we select it. And it'll be able to trigger these doors. It'll be able to trigger the other doors, all of those things. Make sense? Okay, awesome. Let's go into assets and let's create that script. Script to script. I'm going to right click in here and go to create a, where to go? C# script right at the top. Clicking on that. And we're going to call this trigger animation. Enter. So rule numero uno of scripting. When you create a script, it must be capitalized. The first, or the letter, not the all letters, but the first letter of every word needs to be capitalized. And numero dos, no spaces in between these words. No space for you. No spaces. Even though I'm a big fan of personal space, this is not one of those things. You can get wrappers for like JavaScript, but C# is the language of choice here for Unity. In Unreal, it is C++. Okay, so let's double click on that script to open it up and start to do the scripting. Let's do it right here. And hello, welcome to the XR, not the XR, welcome to the script that we are going to. Yes, you can use both. You can also use Playmaker is the other one. So we are going to add a namespace because we don't yet have the vocabulary to use the XR interaction toolkit. So we have to add that library. I'm going to hit enter right at the top in line 4. And let's add using Unity engine.xr.interaction.toolkit. Now, before we go on, we should see what is a class. A class is basically the blueprints of how this behavior, how this code is going to work. Think of it like the structure of DNA in a living thing. Your DNA contains the blueprints of how this object is supposed to be structured. It's supposed to be created. Now, like DNA, this public class that is inheriting from mono behavior needs a living game object in order for it to run. It demands a sacrifice. So, in order for this to be on a sacrifice, it needs to be on a game object, a live game object in the hierarchy. And that's basically the gist of a public class. So we're going to change this mono behavior. We're going to inherit from something else. Inherited is basically just like you have a parent, you've inherited traits from them, like your eye color or hair color or physiology, that sort of thing. In the same way, we have inheritance in scripts, and we're inheriting from mono behavior right now. So we're going to change this mono behavior to an XR, simple, interactable. Simple interactable. This comes from the XR interaction toolkit. And we're going to delete this update. We don't need that. We don't need that at all. And the start is called before. These things are methods. These are little blocks of code that run whenever they're called. So we're going to make this really flexible, and we're going to have something called a public string. So when you're defining variables, you have something called an access modifier, which will either be public or private. And this will be public, so we can see it in the inspector, and this will be a string. And this will be an open animation here, and end things with a semicolon. Because this is C#, we always end our sentences with a period in English or whatever language, and a semicolon in C#. So this is the opening animation. Let's do a public string for the closing animation. No spaces. No spaces there. We also need to get the animator that will be on this game object. This will be a private animator. Let's just call it animator. And then we'll need a private bool called enable. Okay, this equals false. So before we begin, let's make sure that we have this oven door selected. So this is the animator on it. And the script that we will have is this trigger animation. So you know what? Let's add that right now. Trigger animation in there. So this trigger animation needs to be aware of the animator that's on this. So we're going to use our very good friend get component. Get component is just going to get the component animator is going to be on this game object. So we'll say animator equals get component, and then in angle brackets, what type of component are we getting? We're getting the animator. Now, if this isn't making sense to you, if I'm going too quickly, don't worry. We have a beginner C# course that we offer in CircuitStream that goes much deeper, much deeper than this workshop. So if you are a little confused and you're like, wait, hold on, I don't quite get it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to go on the Slack channel. Maybe check out that Intro to C# course that CircuitStream offers with the muffin clicker, all that stuff. So we are getting the animator. Now, let's save the script. And then we'll see our changes in the hierarchy. Let's take a look at what that change is. And there it is. So all of this stuff, all of that comes from the XR simple interactor. Now, what we are really interested in is the select entered, this event right here. When we select it, that's when we want it to open or close. So we're going to use that event. Let's go back to the script, and we're going to have a protected override void, and we're going to search for that on select enter. There it is, on select entered event args. Hit enter, and there we go. So this is where we're going to do our base of our code. So what are we going to do? We're going to say enabled equals the not of enabled. So who knows what a Boolean is? Yes, David. True, false. Yes, CJ. True, false, true, false. So this enable equals false right now. So when enable equals the not of enable, it switches over. So if false equals the not of false, so it will equal true. Exactly. Mukti? Exactly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but you are correct. So we're switching it over to the other side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have an if statement. So we'll say if enable equals true, spelled correctly, true, then we will say that the animator dot play, and what are we playing? We are playing the open animation. Then we'll do an else, and we'll say animator dot play closing animation. And there we go. So this code is just to trigger the doors and stuff to open and close. Open and close, just like that. Yeah, you could just have if enable. Exactly like that. I like being explicit. So on select entered will fire when we are pointing our controller at the game object and hitting the select button, which will be the trigger. And that is it. That's it. That's it. How simple is that? Only 33 lines of code. Amazing. Cool. Let's see if it works. So let's go into the VR escape room. And I'm only going to be doing this for this game object. You could apply it to anything. You could apply it to this door, maybe, because this door has an animator. And let's do this oven first. do that oven door, and it has the trigger animation script. Okay. So let's go into the oven flip. Let's drag this animator right beside here so I can actually see it. And I want to make sure that I'm spelling these things correctly. So the open animation is open oven. So these animations came with the package. That's why I selected it. Thinking ahead. So open oven and closing animation is closing and there. Next, we'll do the door right there. This door. Let's do where'd my script go? Let's trigger animation. There we go. And open and close. So let's do a frame. This door. Opening and closing. So open animation is opening. And then this one is closing. There we go. And let's do this door. This door is going to be special because when we have the sphere touch this thing, this doorknob right there, it'll open. But we're going to use something special. We're going to use something from the XR interaction toolkit. And we're going to use something called an XR socket interactor. So the socket, the sphere that we have, will just socket to the door. I like my sound effects. Let's add component, add an XR socket interactor. So once this interactor is there, once we have a select enter, let's hit this plus icon and we are going to open this door, drag this door right in there, function, go to open and close door, and we will do, animator, there it is, animator, play, open, opening, open and close, opening, yes it is, okay, opening, animator.play, opening. So let's do this door. This door is done, so when we select it, we should be able to open it. Okay, all right, let's see. Now this drawer, it does have an animator on it, so let's do that script right in there. And so opening will be open pull underscore 01. And this will be close push underscore 01. And there we go. There we go. Alrighty. All right. Let's do this. The XR origin is right in there. Let's place this. Let's place this in the kitchen right there. Let's make sure that it is on the floor. Right there. Okay. Okay, so let's save everything. We need some way to move around the scene. That is right. Let's click on the XR origin right here. Let's add component. Let's add an input action manager to manage all these actions. Let's click on that plus icon, click on that circle, default actions. There we go. Let's click on a locomotion system. That's what we want. And then on the sample starter kits, we want the continuous move right there. We want both hands. Let's say that the move speed is 3. And there we go. So try it. So exciting. Okay. Take this off. And let's drag this over there so you can see a big view. Big view. There we go. Let's hit play. Where are my hands? Oh, I'm a bit small, but boom, boom, there we go. And boom, whoop, 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 whoop. Nice. Whoop. Okay, let's grab this. Ha ha! And we're turning it, but let's move. Okay, moving. Okay. So I have DE. Let's put this on the desk table. And then let's open that. Boom. Nice. Let's go over here. I am very small. Maybe this apartment is very large. I'm just sitting down. That's cool. And then let's dig into the toilet. Boom. SK. All right. So let's figure out what these things say. Well, DESK. There we go. Okay, now let's look in the desk. And boop, there it is. Boop. All right, let's go to the socket. Where am I going? Where am I going? Okay. Yeah. And let's see. Yeah. Come on, socket. Where is it going? Socket. Socket. Socket, please, socket. Why isn't that working? Oh, is there no collider? Shoot. There isn't a collider. Oh, silly me. Let's add a collider. There we go. Silly me. Okay, let's save and let's do that again. We don't have to find the blocks because we already know it is. Let's play. All right, we already know what it is. So I'm just gonna speed run. Boom. And boom. Okay. Speed running. What? Come on. Yeah. Suck. Oh no. Why isn't that socketing? Maybe I'm not playing. There is supposed to be a little hover cover color. Little hover. Little hover. Hover mesh standard. Yes. Starting selected. Oh, yes. Yes, it's this one. Okay. So, we can drag sphere, sphere. Here we go. There, there. Let's also make sure that this collider is big enough. Ooh, that's a bit small. Yeah, let's increase the X, Y, Z. There we go. Active. There. There we go. All right. Let's try it again. Yeah, let's try. Open. Shoot, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. There we go. It's already opened. There's the socket. So if we grab it, there, and there we go. And we're done. We made it out of the escape room. Nice. 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 Boom, that's it. We have a VR escape room. So let's recap what we've learned today. Today, we have learned the basics of the XR interaction toolkit. So that is scripting using the simple XR, interactable using inheritance, and overriding a method. We have the Unity asset store. We've gotten the XR origin all up and running for navigation, and we are triggering animations with the select button there. And we have a functioning escape. Escape. And that's it. Let's before everything goes, let's make sure that we have let's drag that git ignore in there. Unity, GitHub, CS, escape from git ignore, drag in there, and boom, there we go. Oh, okay, so we have the finished Unity project. Commit to main, and then you will have everything that we did in this workshop. So I will invite Tyler back up on stage. I will stop sharing my screen. And welcome, Tyler, to the stage.
Hello, hello. Everybody can hear me, see me okay? Yeah, okay, perfect. Just making sure I'm all set up here. Well, thank you, Nikisa. Just following your presentation, I couldn't help myself. I've been thinking about this for the last hour and a half. That was a very pun-believable presentation that you've done today.
Yes.
Waiting the last hour and a half to get that one out.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yes, but no, honestly, thank you. That was awesome. And for everybody joining, we do run workshops, not every week, but pretty close to every week. And they're always free. So you're welcome to join. Oh, thanks, Nikisa. You're welcome to join anytime. And like I said, they're always free. You have to go on and sign up. Now, I'm just going to go through a couple quick things here with everybody who's in the call here, just to make sure that you've got resources and info. My AV and my video is still working okay, so that's good. I got my pun joke in, so that was something. I did publish a couple of the polls off to the side there. So if anybody, if you're able to see those, please feel free to participate. The polls are super helpful for us. Obviously, it helps us to get good feedback from each of the workshops, create them, and make sure that everything is set up to the best benefit for people attending. So I'm going to share my screen here again, and we're really going to hope that it doesn't boot me out. It didn't earlier, so fingers crossed that it is going to play nice with me again here. Share, there we go. Okay, so that was the show. So something I usually enjoy quite a bit with these presentations too is being able to show and share the students' work. This is just a few examples here. You know, we've got students creating scenes in Unity. We've got Vuforia, so obviously using augmented reality and Vuforia technology. And then this example of some C# scripting as well. And I think that's it that I have for the examples that I wanted to share. But some of our students, obviously, we've taught over 40,000 students. This is by no means an accurate reflection of all of our student body, but we do try and share a lot of our profiles on our website. If you go to circuitstream.com, you go to the blog area, you're going to see a whole bunch of case studies of our students, their portfolios, kind of where they came from and what they're doing now, or biographies, I should say, not portfolios per se, but this is a few examples here. We have self-paced introduction to AR course. I should note that as well. Previously, I mentioned our 10-week courses and our bootcamp, which I'll quickly mention those again here. But the self-paced intro to AR course is meant for people to go on. You can purchase it directly through our website, and it's I think it's 6 or 8 hours. I'd have to double check. I think it's 8, but it says 6 hours right there. Sorry. So you go through it at your own pace. You kind of work, and the goal is to create your first augmented reality app for your portfolio. Obviously, we have other forms of education and courses that you can look at afterwards. But for anybody who's not able to sign up for a course and they're interested, this is a really good option to kind of work at your own pace to get started. The XR development with Unity course. I did mention it earlier today. The next date we have coming up would be May 17th. The development and design courses run every 2.5 to 3 months. So always going to be opportunities for you to get going. I always say to people, just make sure it's the right time for you to get going, but lots of opportunity there. Beginner friendly, you're going to be making AR, VR apps in Unity, 3 hours of live instruction per week. Everything's also recorded and available for you for lifetime access. We have 5 hours per week of office hours that you can go in and chat in Slack with the instructors, portfolio-based, project-based, and then there's option for one-on-one support as well. The dates for that, I think I said it earlier, but March 8th for BC, Toronto was March 8th, May 17th for San Diego, and the same for California Riverside. The interaction design course structured very similar to the XR development course, except the main difference there is that there's no focus on coding. It's predominantly focused on design and prototyping. User experience, so it's going to be a little bit different than the C# coding and scripting. Otherwise, it's formatted exactly the same. You've got the 2 live classes. Everything is recorded, and it's yours to keep for life after you complete the course. Option for one-on-one support. The dates for that course would be April 20th for UBC. Same for Toronto. And actually for this one, it's the same for San Diego and for Riverside as well. The Unity Developer Bootcamp, I mentioned this earlier as well, but this is our newer course. It's 6 months. It is quite a bit more in depth than the 10-week courses. It does focus on AR and VR, but it also goes quite a bit outside of that and focuses more on Unity and development overall. You're going to get to build 10 plus projects, including your own idea. There's full career services that come with this course because obviously it's meant to be more of a career track course, not as a beginner friendly in the sense that you do have to have a bit of Unity experience for this one. Then there are scholarships. I can get into that in a minute as well here. Certification. This is a really good visual to just kind of share the certification that we offer through CircuitStream. I mentioned earlier that we are certified training partner with Unity. So you can see the 3 levels of certification through the middle of the screen there would be reflecting that. So if you go through the bootcamp, the developer, or the design course, you would be certified as such through CircuitStream backed by Unity. The difference here is that if you do go through the 6-month developer bootcamp, it comes with an additional tier of certification through Unity Direct. As far as I'm aware, I think you have a year to write that examination once you've completed the bootcamp. The cost is included in the bootcamp course, and the bootcamp itself should prepare you with more than enough knowledge to be able to pass that certification. So then you can be doubly certified, although we did work together on the certification. So you don't necessarily need it from Unity, but it's nice to have both. Both do open network options for you too. Community and support. Beyond the lessons themselves, we've also created a pretty robust community of XR learners, just everybody in the XR industry here overall. All of our students and alumni get lifetime access to all of the material, the classrooms, the recordings, everything. And then they're also in our Slack community for life. Our network is a huge hub of information sharing for students going through the course or once they've completed the courses. If you're looking to collaborate with other developers, designers, if you're looking for, just answers, information, opportunities, anything in that sense, leaning on the network is going to be a huge support system for you. You can see on the screen too, we do events, coffee hours, show and tells, demo days, game jams, lots of stuff. Our admin team, like Lucy, takes really good care of the students here in Archie as well. So the cool thing too, and I always mention this, especially for the development and the design 10-week courses, they really are truly beginner friendly. So no experience is required at all. We have a lot of people that come in with, maybe scattered experience in different types of coding languages from years prior, or we have people who have no experience at all. And that's the cool thing. Beginners really don't have to have any fear. We start everything at a very base level. The pricing, it's important to note as well, for both the development and the design 10-week courses, this would be the pricing model. We have the starter package at $3,950. We have the plus package at $4,950. The main difference there is that the plus package does come with an additional 4 weeks of C# coding and scripting, and it comes with 10 hours of private time with the expert. I am going to pause just for a quick second to note that I can hear when people are adding to the chat, but I can't actually see it while I'm presenting. So if anybody's asking anything and I'm not responding to it, I promise I'm not ignoring you. I can't see the chat right at this very moment, but I will open that back up in a minute. Hopefully there's some other team members in there assisting as well. The bootcamp. This is important to know in terms of the pricing as well. Our 6-month boot camp, the full tuition fee would be $14,995, but we do have extensive scholarship opportunities. We have 15 seats per cohort available, at least for this one here in April. And it is offered directly through Circuit Stream. So we have a bit of a 2-tier interview process for each student looking at the boot camp to make sure that they're qualified, make sure it's the right fit. Once they go through that and everything is good to go, if we still have a scholarship seat available, then we are able to offer it to them. For the April cohort, I believe we have 2 or 3 scholarship seats still open. Forgive me if that's incorrect. I don't know if any of them were taken today, but last I checked, that's where we're at. So if you have any questions about that, just reach out to myself or any member of the enrollment advisor team here. We can help. We do also have financial plans. The easiest way to explain it is for any international students or any students that are outside of the United States, we would offer direct finance plans through our company for either 3, 6, or 12 months. For any students who are located in the US, we actually partnered with Climb Financing. So you have the opportunity to set up different tiers of finance plans depending on which course it is that you're looking at. And they also have the option to do it individually, or you can use a co-borrower or two if you're needed to do it that way. The admissions team I mentioned, obviously you can see me on the top left there. We've also got Leanne, we've got Roham, Shoshana, Stella, Brendan, and Marvell, all covering different areas. Some of us work a little bit more on the university side, and some of us are on straight through the company here. But all in all, this is the full admissions team working at Circuit Stream right now. And I did mention before that all of this is going to be recorded and provided for everybody here. But feel free to still take a screenshot if you want while I've got this up on the screen here. This is just all of the links for each of the websites for the syllabus or for the application for UBC, U of T, UCR, Circuit Stream directly at the bottom, like San Diego. So it's all here for you, screenshot, or just wait for the recording to come through. Of course, you can also just reach out to anybody at the team and we'll point you in the right direction for sure. And that is it. That is the end of the official presentation. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to stop sharing my screen and see if it lets me bounce back over there. And then there we go. I can invite Nikisa back up on the stage here. And I'm going to pop over to the questions tab while she's popping back in here, just to see if there's anything. Nikisa, you may have actually had a chance to look through some of those too.
Ooh, nice.
Let's see here. Looks like some of the questions were answered, but I'm just going to go through, and feel free to keep popping questions up if anybody's got anything while we're going through this here. How do I connect Oculus to your PC? I'm not sure if you answered some of these during the presentation that I missed there, but
I have not, but I can answer that. Wait. There we go. There's the button. So how do you connect Oculus to your PC? Depends which Oculus you need. If it is your Oculus Quest and you would connect this to your PC, you will need either the AirLink or the Link cable. Link cable comes with it, but it's fairly short, so you might want to look into purchasing a longer one. And then you also need the companion PC app downloaded on your computer. Now, if you're using a Mac, this companion PC does not work. It's only for Windows. So buy a Windows machine. Sorry, Mac. But yeah. So yeah, that's how you would connect your Oculus to your PC.
Oh, awesome. So let me see. If I just hit the start live answer, is that going to pop it up on the screen here for us?
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so if I wanted to learn on how to make a really specific custom project, is there a good course to take? Yes and no. If you're truly a beginner, I would still suggest taking one of the courses and maybe picking one of the options that comes with private support as well. If you're not a beginner and you're, you have a bit of a skill set, but you would just benefit more from straight up one-on-one time with the instructors, we do have those packages available as well. So it kind of depends on your skill set, I guess, going into it, and if it would be more beneficial to do the full course along with private time. Is that right, Nikisa? Is that what you'd say too?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okay, so there's that one. Let me just take a look through here. Is this the same skill set that can be borrowed to metaverse development as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you also look into Shapes XR is also really good for prototyping environmental environments. Environmental environments. And it's also useful for prototyping actions and interactions and UI and all that stuff. So yeah, absolutely. These skills can be used for metaverse development.
Awesome. Let's see here. What about this one? Will there be a way to showcase the project on a web page and a potential portfolio, if that makes sense? Yes.
Yeah. There's the student page. Circuit Stream blogs. We have student showcases there, and it's really good. There's also a forum where you can ask your questions, and me or someone else on the team or someone, will be able to answer you and help you along.
Awesome. And so I think that might be, I can hear the bloop, bloop, bloop happening on the chat log on the side there. I can see Dayon's in there chatting with people, so he's probably answering some questions.
Okay.
But in terms of the questions poll, I think we've gotten most of them here. To your PC, showcase your project. Is there a good laptop for game development? Looks like they've gone through. Yeah, so it looks like we've done basically all the questions here. I mean, if anybody else has anything else that they want to pop up, feel free to right now. We've got a few more minutes.
Nice.
And I think we've gone through most of the technical stuff. Is there anything happening in the chat? Thanks for the session, of course. Thank you.
Question. Wait, I have a question. What do you call a lazy kangaroo?
I have no idea.
A pouch potato.
Oh my God. I was trying to think of something with a Joey. I don't know. Oh, these are epic. Yeah, another unbelievable one. Well, awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. Like I said, we run these pretty often, so there's chances are there'll be another one popping up next week. So feel free to register. And then if you have any questions about the courses, the workshops, Circuit Stream, just, XR in general, you can reach out to any of the team members here. And if we can't answer it, we'll reach out to somebody like Nikisa here who'll give us a little bit more of a technical answer, so we can get back to you there. But I guess that's it. We can leave it there. We're finishing a little bit early today, but that's good.
Nice.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a really good week and weekend, and we'll see you at the next workshop. Okay.
Bye, everyone.